sarva-bhūta-sukhāvahe. Lord Rāmacandra, being king during Tretā-yuga, but because of his good government, the age was like Satya-yuga. Everyone was religious and completely happy. Okay. Hare Krishna. So tomorrow is the auspicious appearance day of Lord Ram, and the deities are going to be installed tomorrow. So this verse describes that the government during Lord Ramachandra's reign, the atmosphere was so auspicious that even though it was Tretā-yuga, in reality it was as auspicious and happy as in Satya-yuga. So Lord Ram is none else but the Supreme Personality of God. Yada yada hi dharma-jñe bhavat bharat abhavat dharma-jñe tretāyāṁ. I appear from time to time. And why does the Lord appear? Why does he appear? To establish dharma. So we accept description and explanation from the scripture. These days it's very common for someone to say, I'm an avatar, I'm an incarnation. But we only recognize the genuine incarnations that are described in the Shastras. So this pastime is presented only in a summary form in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. Shukadeva Goswami explains that you have all heard about the pastimes of Lord Ram. Therefore, I will only explain in brief. We see among the acharyas that one acharya has commented in detail, the other acharya just gives a summary presentation. For example, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat, you read pastimes where Krishnadas Kavana says, Vrindavan Das has already explained in detail, so I'll only give a summary. And Vrindavan Das also says many times, Krishnadas Kavana has already given an explanation, so I'll give only a summary presentation. So here we see Parikshit Maharaj explains in the 3rd verse of this chapter. He explains that the pastimes of Lord Ram have already been described in great detail by the other sages. And amongst the various sages, the most reliable presentation of Lord Ram's pastime was in the Ramayana composed by Valmiki. Prabhupada said many times, we accept only the Valmiki Ramayana. So Valmiki in 24,000 verses, even more than the Bhagavatam. The Ramayana has 24,000 verses, and in these 24,000 verses, in great detail, the pastimes of the Lord have been described. And therefore, Shukadeva Goswami is about to conclude the Bhagavatam. So he says, I will only present in a summary form the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because other sages have already described. Hence, he did not consider it necessary to go into great detail. And Prabhupada, in the purport of this verse, explains that if we want to obtain spiritual knowledge, we should obtain this knowledge through the help of a qualified devotee representative, someone self-realized. So there are many versions and many other Ramayana. Many writers have commented on the Ramayana, Lord Rama's pastime. But we accept only those which are presented by qualified devotees. And Lord Rama's pastimes also clearly established that he is none else but a Vishnu Tattva or incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But God appears, he performs superhuman activities, just like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame devya. My appearance and disappearance are both transcendental. So the genuine incarnation of the Lord always performs superhuman activity. Take for example Lord Sri Krishna. Prabhupada says, we serve Lord Krishna as the Supreme Lord because he performed many superhuman activities. Just like the Govardhan Hill, for example, was lifted by him on the strength of just with the help of his nails of his small finger. And he held it in that position for people. So God, when he appears, he performs superhuman activities. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared some 500 years ago, when he was a young child, a Brahmin had come to stay in his house. And every time he would prepare an offering, he would come and spoil it by tasting it. Finally, his father got very upset that he is my guest, and he every time he goes to prepare an offering, it gets ruined. So he locked his son up at a distance. But still the third time when he was preparing his offering, he again showed up. And the Brahmins said, again he showed up. How did he show up? We were locked. And then he showed his transcendental form of Shyam Sundar. And said, don't tell anyone. So God, when he appears, he performs superhuman activity. So similarly, Lord Rāma, he also performed many superhuman activities. That's why we serve him as Rāma. So the Lord Rāma is none else but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And God appears in different forms at different times. So Lord Rāma is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was the son of a king called King Dashra. King Dashra was the son of King Aja. And Lord Rāma and his brothers, Bharat, Lakshman, they're all Vishnu Tattva. Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadi, Ananta Rupam. Prabhupada, commenting on this appearance of Lord Rāma in the Purport talks about Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadi, Ananta Rupam. God appears in various forms. So Lord Rāma's pastimes are great detail, but the Bhagavatam only presents a real summary of his pastimes. So Lord Rāma was very popular with the citizens. These days you have what you call democracy. Democracy is more or less the principal form of government on the planet today. But Prabhupada used to call the Guru democracy. It's virtually the government is a famous definition by Abraham Lincoln. Democracy is government of the people, for the people, by the people. And in our language it becomes government of the fools, for the fools, and by the children. So the democratic system is widely accepted in today's society as something ideal. But the Vedic concept is Rajrishi. The ruler is a king, and he also has a certain character. These days, if you have money, you can fight for position. Nobody can question your character. But in reality, the rulers in the past were Rajrishis. So, King Dashrath was the emperor who had 4 sons. But he could see that Ram, the oldest of his 4 sons, was very much loved by the citizens of India. They appreciated him, and they were getting ready to coronate him. So, and prior to this, also the Lord performed pastimes, super-human pastimes. When the time was there for selecting a husband for Sita, different princes attempted. The challenge was break a bow of Lord Shiva. It was so heavy that he needed 300 people to carry it. Whoever could break that would have Sita. Lord Ram broke that bow just like an elephant breaks a sugar cane with perfect ease. So, Lord Ram was about to be coronated, and King Dashrath had 4 sons and 3 wives. Prabhupada in one lecture says, some say 3, some say 4. But one of his wives was Kakai, who had helped her husband in a difficult situation. And the husband was so obliged, he said, what can I do for you? You virtually saved my life. Can I do anything? And Kakai was diplomatic. She said, I will ask you at the appropriate time. Now, I don't want any favors from you. She was very calculating, cunning. So Lord Ram also appeared in response to the prayers of the demigods. Just like the Lord appeared, Lord Krishna appeared when the demigods were praying for him. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared when Haridas Thakur and Vedacharya very vigorously worshipped the Shagam Shila and chanted for the Lord to appear. So the Lord always appears in response to the prayers of his devotees. So the devotees had prayed for the appearance of the Lord who appeared as Lord Ram. So all of Ayodhya was beautifully decorated, completely lit, and Lord Ram was supposed to be coronated king the next day. So everyone was very jubilant, because it's not like today's environment where the citizens don't really love the leader, and the leaders don't care for the citizens. And the Vedic days, the rulers were very conscientious, and they would treat the citizens as their children. We'll discuss this later. So Kakai approached her husband and said, you remember, you promised me a favor? And Dashrath said, yes, I promised you a favor. Ask me what do you want. I want Ram to be banished in the forest for how many? 14 years. Prabhupada in his lecture on this Ramnavami said, she was smart. She proposed that Ram be banished for 14 years because her calculation was If he's gone for 14 years, in that much period, my son will get firmly established as a king and no one can dethrone him. Otherwise she was worried. If it's just 1 or 2 or 3 years, then there could be a coup d'etat. He goes, you know what a coup d'etat is? Coup. They were just went for 2 or 3 years and came back. He may unsettle my son. So, King Dashrath, when he heard this request, he almost had a heart attack. Ram was his beloved son. The citizens of Ayodhya were preparing to greet him fair. And just on the eve of that coronation, here was someone saying, please banish your son, who had 100% support from the whole population. These days, even if we have a legal agreement on stamp paper, it has no value. Am I right? No one cares, just another legal case. And in India, it has gone for decades. But Lord King Dashrath, if he wanted to, he could have easily said, I'm not going to honor that. What proof do you have that I told you that? He could have given so many excuses, am I right? The whole population is dressed up, anxious to receive me, and now you want me to go? No. King Dashrath was pained, but nevertheless, he wanted to honor his commitment. So he told his son, you please go in exile for 14 years. Lord Ram, like an independent, like a submissive son, what did he say? Yes, Father, I'll do it. If that's your desire, I'll go to the forest. In the Prasamuni, the father of Vyasadeva gave the following explanation of God. Aishwarasya sabagrasya isha prasanapriya jnana viragya avasheva sannamaya. He says that person can be called God who has 6 characteristics to an unlimited degree. And all at the same time. Not that today you manifest one and tomorrow another. What are the 6 qualities? Aishwarasya samagrasya. He is the most richest of all. Krishna had a palace in Dwarka. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. No, you have a generator here? Hare Krishna. So one quality is talent. Hare Krishna. I know lights are like, do they have a generator? Yes. So one quality of God is Aishwarasya Samagrasya, which means he is the wealthiest of all. Then he is the most beautiful. Then he is the most famous. What else? Viryasya. He is the strongest of all. This is okay. Is this better? Hare Krishna. Which one? Like this. This one? Oh, now the generator started. Which one? So he's the most knowledgeable and the most renowned. In the material world, we may see one person is wealthy, but he need not be handsome. Some may be handsome, he may not be the strongest. But God is one. When 6 qualities, you are unable all at the same time. So, Lord Rāma manifested his quality of vairagya, renunciation. The Bhagavad describes just like when the feathers of the bird are strong, the bird just fly out of the nest. So Lord Rāma was told by the father, I want you to go to the forest for 14 years. And Lord Rāma, being an obedient son, what did he tell the father? Okay, father, if that's your desire, I'll go. And he proceeded. His wife Sita came from a very aristocratic background. The Lord said, I had to go to the forest, and I had to go to the forest, and that's not the right place for you to come. So you please stay at home. She said, no, I'm going to go wherever you go. She was a loyal wife. Lakshman, when the Lord appeared, his eternal associates also appear. Lakshman sometimes appears as the older brother, sometimes as the younger brother. Lakshman was so attached to serving Ram that Sita complained, I have nothing to do. All my work is done by Lakshman. Before Sita could do anything, Lakshman would jump ahead and do it for Ram. So Sita was virtually unemployed because all these services were taken over by Lakshman. And then they went to the sage, and he said, Sita complained to the sage, what do you want me to do? Lakshman is so dedicated to his brother that he doesn't leave me to do anything. He anticipates and does it. And then the sage gave Sita some assignments, and Lakshman was her time. So the Lord Lakshman appears sometimes as the older brother, sometimes as the younger brother. So here he appeared as the younger brother. So Lakshman said, I'll also come. And then they went to the forest. And Sita was kidnapped. That was not the real Sita, that was Maya Sita. The real Sita could not be touched. And there were many great hardships in the forest. Tretā-yuga, when Rama was searching for Sita, Tretā-yuga, the bird, she tried to stop Ram. She tried to stop Ravan. Ravan means, how many heads did Ravan have? 10 heads. Ravan means one who gives trouble, one who makes people cry. And Ravan was expert in giving trouble. So Ravan had kidnapped Sita, and as he was heading, Tretā-yuga tried to stop it. And when Rama was searching for Sita, Tretā-yuga was almost dead when he saw her. And Ram said, Tretā-yuga said, in this direction, that cruel Ravan took Sita. And then he died. Tretā-yuga died. And Lord Ram, like a son performs the funeral rites of his father, performed the funeral rites for Tretā-yuga. When the question was crossing into Sri Lanka to bring back Sita, Lord Rāma had an army of monkeys. Is that right? Once in the army, there were only two people who even knew how to use a bow and arrow. The other members of the army were monkeys throwing mountain peaks to make a bridge so that they could cross over the ocean. And the army consisted of monkeys. And what did they have? Mountain peaks, and they threw in the river. So a bridge was constructed. Normally, if you throw a stone, a mountain peak in a river, what will happen? Will it float or sink? It will sink. But when Lord Rāma and his army threw mountain peaks in stones, because they had to make a bridge, the stones did not go deep. They were floating in water. This is another superhuman miracle done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The stones were all floating. Prabhupada over here talks about two types of strength. One is material strength, the other is spiritual strength. Ravan had the best army in the world, far ahead of the armies of today. He had the best armies of the world. And he had very qualified soldiers. So there was no question of Rama, anybody being able to defeat him. So that one is spiritual strength, one is material strength. Before the battle of Kurukshetra, the two sides had a choice. They could either choose Krishna or his army. And Duryodhana heard that Krishna is not going to take part in the battle. So he reasoned, Krishna is not going to take part in the battle at all. What will I do with the soldiers and army? I want the latest weaponry. And Arjuna and the Pandavas, what did they say? You want Krishna. And so the Lord, accompanied by his team of monkeys, was able to cross over the Indian Ocean. And these stones were all floating. Prabhupada gives a very nice example. He says, thousands and thousands and thousands of planets are floating in space. And they don't sink. So the Lord wants, the stones can also float. Just like at one time, there are hundreds of planes flying in the sky. So it's not, there's only one plane. But these planes can stay in the sky only as long as there's enough petrol. And then it has to descend before it runs out. So there are different planets floating in space by the inconceivable management of the Lord. And do these planets ever collide? You read plane crash, computer problem, accident. But have you ever heard the planets collided? They had an accident? No. Have you ever heard the sun didn't rise one day, so you got an extra holiday? No. So the sun rises every day at the right time. This is God's management. God's management is always perfect. So, the Lord Rāma was returning to Ayodhya after the expiry of 14 years. And the citizens of Ayodhya, when they heard the Lord Rāma was coming back, they were in such ecstasy. They had huge, they had big decoration, and they were all ready to welcome Lord Ram back. Bharat, the brother of Lord Ram and the son of Kakai, he was so upset with his mother's desire to have banished Ram. That's why Bharat was so attached to his brother that when he heard that Ram had to leave the palace, leave Ayodhya and go to the forest, he was furious at his mother and he refused to talk to her. You did such a cruel thing. Banished Ram, who was supposed to be a coordinated king. So during the period that Ram was in exile, King Bharat, he ruled in an exemplary way. He kept Ram's shoes, kṛta, on the seat. And he himself was so austere. He was eating barley cooked in cow's urine. And kings and rich people, they wear jewelry in their hands and expensive clothes. But you know what Bharat was wearing? What? He was covering his body with the leaves of trees. He left such a renowned life. So, when the Lord was returning to Ayodhya, the whole country, headed by Ram, went to receive whom? Lord Ram. And then Lord Ram was installed on the throne. And then the Lord Ram started ruling. Even in India today, people talk about Ram Rajya. Why do they talk about Ram Rajya? Ram Rajya was a period in history where there was no misery at all. No old age, no disease, no heart attacks. And you had another big concession. Who knows what that is? You choose your own moment of death. You could choose when you want to die. And if you didn't want to die, no problem. You can stay alive. These days, if you give this facility, choose your own moment of death, all the funeral homes will go bankrupt. But no one is ever going to choose their moment of death. But in Lord Ram's rule, the citizens were so happy, so satisfied, that even though they could say, okay, I don't want to die, then they would pick a date and die. So they were so attached. So Lord Ram's rule is known as Ram Rajya, because that was a period of immense happiness. And the citizens could meet the king at any time. Any time, a citizen would come in, ring the bell, I want an audience with the king. And he would get an audience. Can you do that today? You go to Delhi or a White House and ring the bell. Can I meet President Trump? Can I have? No. These days, even in India, if you want to see your leaders, you can have darshan on television, but not personally. But during Lord Ram's rule, Any citizen would come and meet with the king. And the king would welcome him. That's why the Ram's period is called Rāma, the golden period. And Lord Ram, he considered the citizens to be like his son, like his children. He didn't think they were citizens. I only have to talk to them at election time. No. He treated everyone like his own child. And the citizens, they treated the king as a father. That was the relationship between the king and the citizen. And the Brahmins were completely satisfied. Varnashram was applied. The Brahmins had their duty, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Sudras. So Lord Ram ruled in a very exemplary manner. He was completely detached, and so was Sita Devi. For example, on one occasion, Lord Ram called all the Brahmanas and he said, ask me, Lord Ram told the Brahmanas, ask me for any amount of land that you want. And Lord Ram gave all the land, divided it up, and gave it to the Brahmanas. What did the Brahmanas do? Sell it in the real estate market. No. The Brahmanas accepted the gift. But then the Brahmanas went to the king and said, we are totally satisfied just meditating in your lotus feet. Please take his land back. And the Lord took it back. And when he asked the Brahman, how much land do you want? He said, yeah, only minimum that was necessary. Sita was so renounced, accepted nobly. She distributed all her jewelry to the Brahmana. All her jewelry. She only kept one nose ring. And she distributed all the jewelry to the Brahmana. The Brahmanas took the jewelry and then gave it back to Sita. They said, no, we are totally satisfied. We don't need anything more. Look at the renunciation of the king and the wife. In America they say, president is the first citizen of the country. So look at the example shown by an idol king. Lord Ram showed what it means to be renounced. As a king, he didn't keep anything for himself. Sita, as the wife of the king, she was so exemplary. She gave all the jewelry away, and then the Brahmanas gave it back. So one who is leading in any position should be exemplary. The king should be exemplary, and that will inspire the others. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yam yam bhāpi smaranamam. Whatever great men do, others will follow. So that is exactly what's happening in society. All our great men are drunkards, womanizers, smokers, gamblers, and the population says, oh, our Guru does it, why can't we do it? So whatever the citizens can do, so they copy. What the society needs is exemplary leadership. Similarly, in a spiritual organization also, the leaders have to be exemplary so that we can inspire others to follow this path. So Lord Ram ruled over the planet. Lord Ram was completely detached. He treated his citizens like his children. And the children and the citizens treated Ram as their father. They had such a loving exchange. These days you see, everyone, all politicians, etc., they carry a security guard with them, or guards. Why? Because they're fearful that someday they may be attacked. So that's good. They take precaution. But at that time, the citizens automatically loved the king. And they had a very loving relationship. And then Lord Ram, he was so concerned about the welfare of the citizens that he would personally supervise the cleansing of every road in Ayodhya. He would have the elephant can hold water and then release the water like you do in a shower. So the elephants used to have scented waters in their trunk, and they would wash the trunk every day. Today, even in Washington, one of the richest cities of the world, they can't afford to clean every street over here, Washington, with scented water. But during Lord Ram's period, all these roads were cleaned with perfume water by coming from an elephant. So when the citizens saw our king cares so much for us, he personally is standing on the road to see that the road is cleaned nicely. The citizens' love increased even further. And Lord Ram would also go in disguise to see. Any complaints? Anything that anybody is suffering from? He would go and, like today, if you're a critic of the government, you could end up in the jail also. But Lord Ram would be anxious to find out what problems do the citizens have. So in the verse we read today, Rāmacandra, Lord Ram became king in Tretā-yuga. But as the verse describes, the atmosphere was like Satya-yuga. Why? Because all the citizens were engaged in worshipping the Lord and chanting the holy names of the Lord. Everyone was interested just in that, nothing else. So the environment was very good. During when Lord Ram was ruling over the planet, there was a Brahmin who would come every day, have darshan of Lord Ram, and then go home, then have prasad. So once Lord Ram was out of Ayodhya for 2 weeks, and the Brahmin did not eat. So when Ram came back after 2 weeks, and Lakshmana said, this Brahmin never eats without having a darshan. For 2 weeks you were out of Ayodhya. The Brahmin did not eat anything. Lord Ram had one of his murtis inside the cupboard. He took that murti out and gave it to that Brahmin and said, you should meditate on this deity. By serving the deity, this deity is not different from me. So the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord is not different from the Lord. It is one and the same. And therefore, you worship the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord. So Lord Ram has innumerable transcendental pastimes. And Prabhupada is explaining the verse that if we chant the Hare Krishna Maha-mantra, you will achieve the same happiness that was experienced when Lord Rāma was ruling over. And in the Bhagavatam it is described, anyone who consciously, attentively hears this pastime of Lord Rāma, he will become free of envy. He will become free of envy, free of lust. So how many of you want to become free of envy? Oh, all of you. Very good. So read these pastimes I described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 10 and 11. Read these pastimes and meditate on these pastimes. And that will free you of envy, lust, anger, greed, all these anarthas that prevent you from surrendering to the Supreme Lord. So Lord Rāma is the personality of Godhead. He acted like an idol king. People even today remember how idle he was. He was completely detached and his only desire, Lord Rāma's pastimes, also superhuman. So we should pray to Lord Rāma for his blessings so that we can make spiritual advancement. And by thinking about the passion of the Lord, we get purified. So on this auspicious day, we offer our respect to the Lordship, Sitaram Lakshmana and Lord Rāma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appeared to establish Dharma. So we should wholeheartedly surrender to the Lord. Sometimes people will say, we won't even have an argument. Who is superior? Krishna or Rāma? Prabhupada says, we should not get into this argument. And Lord Rāma, the word Rāma, is included in the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rāma. So we meditate on Rāma and his pastimes, get purified. Hare Krishna.